Hey guys, and welcome to a finals of a tournament between myself under the guise of Melon Lord up against Owie Dowie and his Dowie forces. Now, for those of you guys who don't know, I did a live stream the other day where I was playing in a tournament hosted by Logical_EU, and I got all the way to the semi-finals and had an hour and a half wait before the finals, so I ended up deciding to stop streaming before it best to cast the finals so you guys can see if I managed to win or not, or if I got absolutely crushed by my opponent here. It was a double knockout or double elimination tournament, so you had 2 lives, and I have both my lives available at the moment. So if I lose this first game, I can still come back in with a second one. And I'm going to be taking the mighty forces of Norsca. We both banned Lizardmen, which were our preferred faction. So let's go for our builds quickly. Gonna have to pause, as you can see, the battle gets underway rather quickly. We have 2 Marauder Horsemen. Their main focus is going to be Slayers. They're here to hunt them down, hunt those Slayer booties wherever they go on the battlefield, and pressure Gyrocopters and other ranged units. The reason I really want to pressure Slayers is I have double Feral Mammoth. Now, Feral Mammoth may seem like an odd pick, not the best leadership up against the Dowie who have a lot of guns, but there's pretty much nothing in their roster apart from Slayers, which can slow them down or bog them in, so they should be able to push into that back line rather comfortably. We have a ton of Marauder Great Weapons as our main battle line, cheap, cheerful, happy to be here and skewer some Dowie beards. And we have Marauders on the flanks as well, looking to wrap around, and you can see we've gone rather wide with our formation. We do have double Marauder Ice Wolf Chariot. These guys, again, very quick, have that frostbite, can push into the enemy lines rather effectively. And leading our forces today, we have a Famir Belfiend with Shadows coming in with the mighty Wither. We have the Pendulum, which is pretty good against Dwarfs because of their tightly packed formation. Enfeebling Foe and Scroll of Shielding. And over on the far left-hand side, of course, we have Wulfric the Wanderer on his mighty Chariot. He's going to be coming in with the nerfed Sea Fang, still does pretty good work, Fight or Die, and Hunter of Champions. Now for my opponent, of course, taking a defensive approach, as you expect from the Dwarfs. Cheap and cheerful miners in the front line, a couple of blasts and charges in the secondary rank here to fire up and over their own units and try to beat back some of those Marauders, Berserkers, and other units which will eventually overwhelm the Dwarf forces. In the centre pocket here, we have the Ulfar Rangers, Regiment of Renowned Rangers with great weapons. They do come with a really useful ability marked by Ulfar, which help them take down some larger threats. He has a Quarreler, 2 Organ Guns as well, which is absolutely rock and roll. I love this build so far. A nice defensive geometry in the back, with a load of bucket ton of Dwarf Warriors in a nice little kind of half rectangle formation, as well as on the flanks we have some with great weapons. Up in the skies he has the Sky Hammer, and I don't have too many ways of shutting this bad boy down apart from the Horseman. He of course has the Sky Hammer bombs, can do some really nice damage as well from long range, but it doesn't have the most amount of ammunition. And down here leading the forces we have a Basic Arse Naked Fae next to his Basic Arse Naked Lord. Actually, he's going to be bringing the Star Metal Plate, lowering the melee attack. Pretty decent ability all around there. Gone rather cheap and cheerful and just as wide as possible, and we're going to be trying to surround my opponent as quickly as we can, as those organ guns are going to unleash horrific damage. You can see down here he's dropping a Marked by Ulfar on me. It does lower my missile resistance and armor, and those organ guns are going to be able to pound the mammoth, so we're falling back out of bow fire range at least, so we don't have to suffer from all of the damage, but organ guns are now ripping this feral mammoth a new one, and he's taking quite a pound in here. We do come down by it with a Pendulum. Unfortunately, it was a little bit of a swing and a miss, trying to catch both units. We did some okay damage there, and the Great Weapons trying to fall back away from those blasts and charges where possible. Where the blast charges are not, that's when we're going to be rushing in with the Great Weapons. On the far side here, you can see the Ice Wolf Chariots are starting to push in, a little over-eager perhaps, but if my opponent starts to drag all his units to deal with just one unit, we can overload the other flank with the Mammoths and the other Chariots coming in, trying to hit my opponent from multiple sides. Now the front line is going very badly for me. Those Ekrund miners as well as other miners on huge burst damage to the Great Weapons, doing some fantastic work, but in come the heavy hitters now. In the back line here, one Ice Wolf Chariot has to be bogged down by my enemy's characters, and that Skyhammer Torpedo, or Skyhammer Gyro Bomber, is in massive damage to these guys. Oh, it's disgusting. They will be bouncing around, trying to target down the Rangers and other squishier units, and it looks like Wulfric and the Marauders are just going to be bouncing around quite happily here. Feral Mammoths are now behind the enemy lines, breaking off these cheaper miners, before pushing back onto the more squishy targets, like the Rangers, who we really need to shut down, slaughtering Dowie with every stomp and swing of those mighty tusks. Certainly reminds me of the Elephants from Lord of the Rings there. One unit of Ice Wolf Chariots has taken a lot of damage, but the others are continuing to push through. My opponent doing a good job of protecting these organ guns here, which is rather scary stuff. Horseman just trying to threaten the Skyhammer, but to be honest, I'm not doing much damage to it at all. On this left-hand side, we did manage to overwhelm the enemy, and now we have a nice big fat gap into the back line to try and shut down these organ guns, whereas we struggled in the front. It looks like a lot of units are going to be coming back. Mammoths have certainly helped punch a big fat hole into the enemy formation. Glorious to see the Mammoths come in. It looks like we have dropped a Hunter of Champions on his Lord, and double Mammoths are coming for the frenzy. They do bash their tusks together. Must be mating season. But in come all the chariots. Wolfric as well, just having an absolute whale of a time, laughing, cackling, and insulting the Dowie in their own language. Although he does take a big organ gun shot to the face, as well as fire support from the Skyhammer, doing some massive damage, but he is able to shut down and terrify off the organ gun. One of the Mammoths is rampaging, but I'm not too fussed at this point. It's become a big melting pot of Dowie mixing with great weapon-wielding Marauders. Without their blasting charges and their backline being shut down, I'm a happy bunny so far. Balance power slightly in our favour. We do have these horsemen as well. Continue to throw in javelins, just do a little bit of damage. Every time I do click on them, I'm trying to pop them onto the Skyhammer, which is up to 86 kills. Very scary stuff. The basic lord has been hit by Wither, but unfortunately the Mammoth rampaged away from him, so we're not going to be getting all of the most amount of damage, but javelins doing okay here. Looks like some miners have come back, Kobeing a last few blasting charges, really whittling down my infantry corps, which is very low health at this point. Dwarf warriors are steamrolling in a column formation. They're going 2x2 to their doom, as the Pharaoh Mammoth has been hit by a scroll of shielding, giving that lovely damage resistance. The other Mammoth is still alive, but very beat up at this point. Luckily for me, Skyhammer is running low on ammunition. Thane has been forced back at this point, and the Raiders are being hunted down. Marauders are great weapons, charging in with a gusto, cleaving Dowie bearded head from neck. And it looks like the Dwarfs are in massive retreat at this point. The Thane has completely shattered, and it looks like it's just the Skyhammer remaining. One of the Mammoths did finally get pushed off, below 500 health left on him, but it is a little bit too little too late from my opponent. A Pyrrhic victory for us, and we did manage to claim the crown in this tournament. It was a really fun event put on by Logical_EU. You can go watch all the semi-finals and finals, and I think some of the quarterfinals even, over on his channel, which is, yeah, Logical_EU. Or you can go watch my progress throughout this through my stream. I believe it's called Tournaments and Quick Battle Games. It's the latest stream I've done, basically, and you can see me from the start to the end, and we managed to win 5 games out of 5, holding on to our 2 lives the entire length of the way, which I was really quite happy with. Before we go over the damage value of these units, I hope you guys did enjoy. If you did, feel free to give the video a big old thumbs up and subscribe for more Total War Warhammer content. Both of those things really help push the channel forward and spread it out to more people. If you would like to see your own replays up on the channel or get involved in tournaments I host, feel free to join my Discord. There's a link down below. If it doesn't work, please do just hop onto Discord and PM me. My name on there is, of course, Rubber Like a War, and I'm on all the big Discords in general. And if you want to support the channel in any other way, you can join on Patreon, link in description, or become a member of the channel. But anyway, on to Owie Dowie. Played a really fantastic game. I believe he had to play the most games in the tournament, because if you lost the first game in the top bracket, you got moved down to the bottom bracket, so he had to win an extra final to be here. And I love the organ gun pick. They actually did some massive damage across the board. Looks like they had some chevrons on them, and that Skyhammer was a nightmare for me to deal with. 18,000 damage dealt, 2k damage of value. I really didn't have any counters to it, especially when he brought it back behind friendly territory and the horseman couldn't get close enough. But apart from that, he really did suffer a little bit. Unfortunately, his ranged troops as well as his infantry corps just got run over by the chariots and the mammoths, which is a big problem for Dowie in general. We can see the blasting chariots fared a lot better, getting some okay, well, fantastic damage dealt, but not the best damage value. They were mainly aiming them at those cheap and cheerful Great Axe Marauders. So they did okay. The Thane as well and the Lord did kind of suffer. So basically it was a big story of Dowie getting squished underfoot. Wolf the Wanderer had a fantastic time, 10k damage dealt and 1000 damage value, still about half health, so he had plenty left in the tank. Pretty bad use of magic on my behalf, to be honest. The Withers were good, but all the pendulums were rather misplayed. Of course, it was a finals on stream, so you've got to be a little bit nervous. But still, he was full health at the end and still had plenty of winds of magic to go. And Marauders across the board did okay. Nothing crazy on their damage, but they really here to swarm and distract my enemy, while the Marauders come in again to distract the enemy and allow the big mammoths to rock up and slaughter those Dowie forces under heel. 10,000 damage dealt on this one, 7,000 here, and you know, nearly a K damage value, 1,400 on this one. Super fun games all around. Hope you guys enjoyed. Until next time, peace, peace, and as always, stay awesome.